Welcome back to Before You Go. We are a lifestyle portal for those seeking support in the areas of mental health and wellness. Remember, we want to break those pathologies that sometimes plague our communities, our families, and our inner selves. So join us as we navigate the path to emotional freedom. In today's series, we're going to talk about relaxation. That's right, relaxation. We'll talk about the benefits of relaxation. We'll share some easy techniques that you can start right away, and we'll share recent research and what experts have to say. And of course, as we always do, we'll talk about that mental health connection. Now, if you appreciate this topic, you can find this topic and so much more over at mixedgreensforthesoul.com. Be sure to visit our website, mixedgreensforthesoul.com. Now, I have a question for you guys. Do you know a simple way to reduce stress by up to 68%? I'll ask it again. What's a simple way to reduce stress by up to 68%? While you guys are thinking about that answer, I'm going to go ahead and display our medical advice disclaimer. And I'd like to share with you that we do not provide medical advice. We do not provide medical advice. However, we do provide information for informational and educational purposes. Now, back to our answer. What's a simple way to reduce stress by up to 68%? If you said by reading, you are correct. That's right, reading. And that information comes from a 2009 study by the University of Sussex. And those researchers there found that reading as few as 6 minutes can reduce your stress by up to 68%. And that was more successful than doing something like listening to music. So, reading, you guys, is the way to go. And so, I hope you continue to read along with this video. Now, in this relaxation series, part one, we're going to talk about the benefits of reducing anxiety and stress. And, when I thought about this topic, I realized that for some folks, being stressed out or being fatigued all the time is just a normal part of life. It's just their normal way of being. I fortunately am not one of those people. To the contrary, I enjoy stress free environments and stress free people. One of the things I like to do to relax is to garden. I love flowers. I've been gardening since I was a child, and so that is very peaceful for me. I would love to know down in the chat what you guys do to relax. Are you exercising? Are you walking? Are you fishing? Are you going out on your boat? Are you listening to music? Just share some of your best practices so we can kind of learn from one another. I really appreciate it. Now, when we're thinking about relaxation, we have to think about the things that are causing us to not relax. And for me, I want to talk about two types of stress, right? We're all stressed out, but particularly we are suffering from chronic stress and from acute stress. And so let's talk about the difference between those two. Chronic stress is that stress that is caused by daily living, right? It's that stuff that, gets under our skin. Maybe it's overdue bills. Maybe it's something the kids have done. Maybe it's something that has happened at work. So those are chronic stressors. The thing about chronic stress is we tend to ignore it because it is so commonplace. It happens every day to everybody. But left uncontrolled, chronic stress can just wreak havoc on your body, your physical health systems, like your immune system and some other systems that we're going to talk about here today. Chronic stress also affects your mental health. So, as always, we'll talk about that mental health connection toward the end of the segment. Now, let's talk about acute stress. So, that is the exact opposite of chronic stress. That's what we call that fight or flight mode, right? And so, when you're under acute stress, your body is preparing itself for defense, basically, right? It's temporary, but it's preparing itself to defend itself, against some sort of situation. The thing to understand about acute stress is that it takes your body about 90 minutes to return to normal once you're in that fight or flight mode. And this information I'm sharing with you is coming from the American Psychological Association. Now, along the same lines of that APA research is a recent survey from a company called Talent LMS. And that survey shows that 82% of Gen Zers want mental health days as an option. And just in case you don't know, Gen Zers are ages 10 to 25. And so many of them could just be in their first or second jobs. And you have to keep in mind that these kids or these young adults are really the first generation to experience chronic stress via things like school shootings, via astronomical student debt, via COVID-19. Remember, COVID-19 radically changed the way they experience education and really their social environment, right? And so, again, that information comes from Talent LMS. Now, in terms of Gen Zers, APA recommends that we do a couple of simple things. Number one, we could provide targeted training opportunities for them. And number two, we could do something as simple as thank them. Again, they've made a lot of sacrifices that none of us have had to make, right? Post COVID. So just keep those two things in mind when you're dealing with younger people. Now, as for everybody else, 80% of Americans are worried about inflation, are worried about supply chain issues, global uncertainty. 70% of Americans are worried about their children's social development, academic development, and their children's emotional health. And again, this information comes from the APA. Now, you know, we've gone over all these stressors and the type of stress, hence the need for relaxation. And I love this picture here. This woman is in a wooded area. It could be her backyard. But the thing I love about it is that she appears to be carefree, if only for a moment. She still appears to be carefree. Now, let's get into the benefits of being able to relax like that woman in the photo, right? Some of the benefits of relaxation are, it can decrease blood pressure if you have high blood pressure. It can relieve pain. It can improve those physical systems that I mentioned, the immune system, cardiovascular system, and the autonomic nervous system. And again, not providing medical advice, but sharing evidence-based research. And that information comes from Harvard University. Now, when we continue to talk about the benefits of relaxation, we can think about things like it actively reduces stress hormones like cortisol, and it increases blood flow to major muscles. Relaxation also improves sleep quality, it can lower fatigue, and it can reduce anger and frustration. And I'm sure you guys can think of many, many more benefits to relaxation. But now I want to share some techniques with you. So let's get into our brief techniques here. I am going to share quite a few techniques with you. Again, after watching this video, you can do some of them right away. Maybe one or two of them, you may want to do a little bit more research. But again, I'm trying to provide some things that you can take away after watching this video. So let's get into our techniques here. The first one I want to share is called progressive relaxation, and it is exactly like it sounds. It's when you take a muscle, it could be in your arm, your stomach, your leg. You're going to target that muscle and you're going to tense that muscle up, like make it really, really tense. And then you're going to slowly and methodically release that tension, similar to Kegel exercises, if you've ever done those. That's progressive relaxation. The next one I want to talk about is guided imagery. Now, guided imagery is also like it sounds. It's when you picture objects, scenes, or events that are associated with relaxation. It could be something that you've already experienced, but the point of it is to make yourself calm and to attempt to produce that similar feeling in your body. And so I always think about, maybe being on a tropical island, being out in the ocean in a boat, laying out. It's not too hot, not too humid, if you will, but I just am using all of my senses and I'm smelling the tropical air. I'm smelling fruits and different food cooking on the grill. I can see from afar beautiful sandy beaches. Perhaps you can hear waves or dolphins, just that beautiful guided imagery. The next one I want to talk about is called breathing exercises. And we've all done breathing exercises at some point in time, whether it has been, in something like yoga or Pilates. Breathing exercises are really good for kids too. And so sometimes you'll see somebody who is almost at that fight or flight mode, and they'll take a moment to just take in some deep breaths, right? Like to do their breathing exercises so that they can calm down, so that they can de stress. By the way, these breathing exercises that I'm talking about are called belly breathing or diaphragmatic breathing. And so, those three things I just mentioned, you can find so many videos on YouTube and so much information on the web about progressive relaxation, guided imagery, and breathing exercises. The next one I want to talk about, two things here: hugs and playing with your dog. Now, these sound really simple. Obviously, you're not going to hug someone who doesn't want you to touch them. So make sure you're hugging somebody who mutually wants, that sort of touching and closeness. And obviously, you're not going to play with your dog if you don't like dogs or if you're afraid of dogs. But this information is shown to hugs and playing with your dog, by the way. This information is shown to lower blood pressure and heart rate in premenopausal women. So, again, sharing information for everybody here, for men, women, people of all shapes, color, sizes, and ages, okay? That information comes from an organization out of North Carolina. Now, this is a new section for our videos. We're going to share some expert opinions today on these topics. And our first guest expert is Dr. Tom Ingegno. So we are so excited to have Dr. Tom here with Mixed Greens for the Soul. Dr. Tom has more than 20 years of experience, and he's a practicing physician at Charm City Integrative Health in Baltimore, Maryland. So, again, Dr. Tom Ingegno talks about another technique, acupuncture. And I'll give you my personal testimonial to acupuncture in a second. But concerning this relaxation technique, Dr. Tom says acupuncture has been shown to regulate the autonomic nervous system. That's a fancy way of saying keep you out of fight or flight mode and helping you stay in rest and digest mode. And so, again, that comes from Dr. Tom Ingegno. He is a physician over at Charm City Integrative Health in Baltimore, Maryland. And Dr. Tom sees all types of athletes, all types of people with various situations. So be sure to check out his YouTube channel, his website. We'll put links to all of that in our description box. We want to thank Dr. Tom for partnering again with mixedgreensforthesoul.com, and thank you for your expert opinion. Now, my personal testimonial for acupuncture, many years ago, I had ear surgery, and it was really extensive and caused me to have severe vertigo and imbalance. And I ended up going to a very large, popular hospital that I won't name to get acupuncture. I got about 10 sessions of it. And you guys have to do the research yourself, but for me, it was so relaxing, so healing. And it was even interesting for me to learn about Chinese medicine in that way. And so that's my personal testimonial. I swear by acupuncture, and it is something that I recommend to most people. But again, research it and try it out for yourself. And as with anything, you have to find the right doctor for that. So give thanks rather to Dr. Tom for telling us a little bit about acupuncture. He has so many more alternative therapies over there at his Baltimore office. So appreciate you, Dr. Tom. The next guest expert we have is Vanessa Osorio. She is a sleep health content specialist at Sleepopolis. Yes, there is such a thing, and yes, there is such a place. And so Sleepopolis is really cool. They offer everything you ever wanted to know about sleep, everything from different types of mattresses to how to put kids to sleep, babies to sleep. So just really, really useful information. But again, thanks to Vanessa for being our guest expert when we're talking about relaxation in terms of its interconnectedness to sleep. And so here, Vanessa says to be able to relax in the evening, I suggest sticking to a consistent sleep schedule and creating a nighttime routine that promotes relaxation. For example, taking a warm bath, reading a book, listening to a podcast, or some calming music. And so, again, those are some more tips and some more ideas from our sleep health content specialist, Vanessa Osorio. So, thank you, Vanessa, for partnering with Mixed Greens for the Soul and providing this content for us. Now, one thing that I personally am going to try is their 30-day sleep challenge. You can find that over at Sleepopolis, and we'll also put those links in our description box. But that 30-day challenge is going to help you. I have suffered from insomnia from time to time, and I really need to, kind of fix my habits, if you will. It's called sleep hygiene. So, sleep hygiene has nothing to do with like washing your sheets or your body or anything like that. It really is about creating those habits of sleep that will then cause you to relax. So, those are our two expert opinions for today. So, again, we're excited to start partnering with some local folks here. Again, one out of Baltimore and another one out of Raleigh, North Carolina. So, thank you, Dr. Tom Ingegno of Charm City Integrative Health in Baltimore, Maryland. And thank you, Vanessa Osorio and Sleepopolis over in Raleigh, North Carolina. Now, moving on, we have a shameless plug of our own. Here in 2023, pretty soon, we're going to start our Before You Go tutorials. And that's something we've wanted to do for a while and are really excited to be able to bring you. That is going to be a deeper dive into a lot of the topics that you see here today with relaxation and other things that we've done in the past. So, look forward in 2023 to our tutorials. Those tutorials will be taught and presented by industry experts. So thank you guys for joining us for our 2023 tutorials. Now, moving on. We always talk about that mental health connection, right? And so today we've talked about relaxation, the benefits of relaxation, what is causing us to be so stressed out, not only in America, but I'm sure in other parts of the world they have the same stressors. We've given you hopefully quite a few ideas and tips to get started with your relaxation journey. And so now we're going to talk about that mental health connection. I want you to know that chronic stress actually can alter the brain. It can kill brain cells. I said before that it increases stress hormones like cortisol, and it can alter your brain in such a way that it causes depression and anxiety. And so this is serious stuff. I also want to focus on the mental health connection when it comes to people of color. And there are two PhDs, Mia Smith Bynum out of the University of Maryland and Earl Turner out of Pepperdine University. And they've done some research around this topic and really are helping us better understand how people of color can build resilience when they find themselves in these stressful situations. And so, They offer just 3 quick things that you can do to help build resilience. And again, this is for us, our family members, anybody who is, suffering from these stressors. So one of the things they say that we can do to build resilience, acknowledge your feelings, right? um, just learn how to cope and acknowledge your feelings. The second thing they talk about is participating in culturally affirming activities. Now, that could mean, something different from person A to person B, but whatever is affirming or positive to you, make sure you participate in some of those gatherings, and make sure, if you can, they're in person gatherings, because that helps you stay connected to your community. And then the last thing they recommend for building resilience is to limit your exposure to news media and any type of video content that shows people of color being harassed and obviously, killed by law enforcement. They point out the need to do this for young children in particular. So again, that source is from Dr. Bynum and Dr. Turner. Now, as we conclude our video, I would also like to share with you guys some tools you can use. If you guys need some tangible sort of paper documents to carry around, maybe in your purse or your wallet, we do have a 20-minute mindfulness activity that we can share with you. And we also have a before you go deep breathing handout. And so if you're interested in, obtaining those, we will certainly email them to you. Just send us an email at mixedscreensforthesoul@gmail.com, and make sure you put in the topic or the RE relaxation tool so we can know what you're writing for. But yeah, if you want the 20-minute mindfulness activity and the deep breathing handout, go ahead and email us at mixedscreensforthesoul@gmail.com. All right, so again, this concludes today's video. I hope, as always, that you have enjoyed the video. I hope you have learned something that you didn't already know, and I hope that you are one step further in your journey to emotional freedom. I look forward to seeing you guys soon.